When a parent kidnaps their own child, the legal battle that shook the nation. In a case that shocked the nation, a parent decided to take drastic action and kidnap their own child. This incident not only left the family in turmoil, but it also sparked a nationwide legal battle that captivated the public and raised important questions about the law, parenting, and the rights of children. How could a parent do such a thing? And what legal consequences followed? This is a story of desperation, legal drama, and ultimately justice. Or was it? The details of this case are both heart-wrenching and deeply unsettling. It all began with a family torn apart by personal conflict. A mother and father, once in love, now found themselves at odds over the custody of their young child. With the divorce proceedings dragging on, emotions were running high, and the child was caught in the middle. It was a seemingly ordinary day when the father, feeling he had lost all control over the situation, decided to take matters into his own hands. The court had granted shared custody, but there was a history of disputes, accusations, and unresolved tensions. As the mother left her home for work, the father saw an opportunity. With no warning, he took the child, leaving behind nothing but a trail of confusion and fear. For hours, the mother frantically searched for her child, calling relatives and friends, but it wasn't until the police became involved that the magnitude of the situation started to sink in. The father, desperate and determined, had fled to a remote location in another state, hoping to escape the law's reach. But this wasn't just a simple custody dispute. It was a full-blown kidnapping by a parent, and that's where the real legal battle began. The mother, devastated and helpless, took immediate action. She filed for an emergency custody order, hoping to bring her child back home. The court, however, was not as quick to act. Meanwhile, the nation watched as this shocking event played out on the news, with experts and social commentators weighing in on the case's potential implications for family law. As news of the kidnapping spread, the public was left in shock. People could hardly believe that a parent could commit such an act. Social media erupted with reactions, some expressing disbelief, others offering support for the mother, and still others condemning the father's actions. This case quickly became more than just a family dispute. It became a national conversation about parental rights, custody battles, and the lengths to which someone might go when they feel they are losing control of their family. The emotional toll on both parents was undeniable, but the legal system's response to the situation was swift. Law enforcement agencies from multiple states were immediately alerted, working around the clock to locate the father and bring the child back safely. At the same time, the courts were asked to intervene, with the mother seeking an emergency custody order. But the legal challenges were far from simple. The father had not violated the original custody agreement, and as such, the law did not initially classify the situation as a criminal kidnapping, but rather a dispute between parents. Experts in family law weighed in on the case, discussing the complexities of parental rights and the challenges courts face when trying to balance the interests of both parents. Some argued that the father's actions could be justified in the context of his emotional distress, while others claimed that no situation could ever justify the removal of a child from their custodial parent. This split in public opinion only added fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, as the legal battle raged on, the child remained in a state of uncertainty. What would happen to them? Who would have custody? Would this incident leave lasting scars on their emotional and psychological well-being? These were the questions the nation asked, and the court was about to decide. As the case moved into the courtroom, the tension reached new heights. Both parents had their legal teams, and the stage was set for a fierce battle over the future of the child. The stakes were incredibly high, not just for the parents, but for the child whose future hung in the balance. The courtroom was filled with emotions, legal arguments, and strategies that would shape the outcome of this landmark case. The father's defense was built around the claim that he was acting out of love for his child, desperate to protect them from what he believed was an unhealthy environment. He argued that the custody arrangement was unfair and that the child was suffering as a result of the mother's inability to provide a stable home. His attorneys presented testimony from friends and family members who supported his views, portraying the mother as unfit to care for the child. On the other side, the mother's legal team focused on the law. They argued that the father's actions were a blatant violation of custody laws and that his behavior endangered the child's safety and emotional well-being. The mother's lawyers brought in experts to testify about the psychological harm caused by parental abductions, emphasizing that the child needed to be returned to a stable, loving environment, which they argued was with the mother. The courtroom drama was intense. The judge, tasked with making a decision that would affect a child's life forever, listened carefully to both sides. Witnesses were called, evidence was presented, and both parents were given the opportunity to make their case. The tension in the room was palpable as the judge considered the complexities of family law and the emotional turmoil at the heart of the case. One of the most difficult aspects of this legal battle was proving whether the father's actions constituted kidnapping under the law. While the father had taken the child without permission, the original custody agreement allowed for shared time. The court had to decide whether this act crossed the line from a family dispute to an unlawful abduction. As the proceedings continued, the courtroom was filled with experts discussing the psychological impact on the child, who had been through so much in such a short period of time. The child was placed under the care of a court-appointed guardian, and a series of interviews and assessments took place to determine the child's emotional state and preferences. The court was determined to ensure that the decision was in the best interest of the child, but this was easier said than done. The legal battle was more than just a fight for custody. It was a battle over control, over love, and over the very nature of parenthood. The courtroom became a battleground where every word and every action mattered. After weeks of legal wrangling, emotional testimonies, and expert opinions, the court finally reached a decision. The judge, faced with the complexities of the case, had to make a ruling that would impact not just the lives of the parents, but the future of the child who had been caught in the middle of their dispute. The question remained, who would ultimately have custody, and what would the consequences be for the parent who had taken the child? The decision was a mixed outcome. The father was found guilty of violating the terms of the custody agreement, and while his emotional distress was taken into consideration, the law was clear. The court ruled that he had acted inappropriately by taking the child without permission and without legal grounds. As a result, the father was ordered to return the child to the mother immediately. However, the court acknowledged the strained nature of the parents' relationship and ordered that future custody and visitation arrangements be revisited with the assistance of family mediation. For the mother, the ruling was bittersweet. While she regained custody of her child, the process had left emotional scars. The experience had been traumatic not just for her, but for the child as well. Both parents were instructed to attend counseling sessions in order to rebuild some sense of trust and work toward a healthier co-parenting arrangement. The court also recommended that the child undergo counseling to help process the trauma caused by the abduction. The father, though legally defeated, was granted visitation rights under strict conditions. The judge ruled that he could see his child on a supervised basis until both parents could demonstrate that they were capable of co-parenting in a healthy and safe environment. While the father's actions had been deemed illegal, the court recognized the importance of maintaining a relationship between him and his child, provided that it was done in a manner that prioritized the child's well-being. The ruling sparked widespread debate. Many people felt that the decision was fair, given the circumstances, while others believed that the father's actions should have led to more severe consequences. Some questioned whether the courts were being too lenient with parents who engaged in such extreme behavior, while others argued that the child's need for both parents in their life should not be overlooked. In the aftermath of the ruling, both parents were left to pick up the pieces of their fractured relationship. For the child, the trauma of the experience would take time to heal. The case raised important questions about the lengths to which parents might go in custody battles and the emotional toll these disputes can have on children. While the legal battle had ended, the emotional scars would likely remain for years to come. The case also had a broader impact on family law. it became a case study for future legal discussions about parental abductions and custody disputes. Courts across the country began to review their own procedures and laws regarding parental rights, hoping to prevent similar situations in the future. The ruling was seen as a reminder of the fragile nature of family dynamics and the importance of maintaining the best interests of the child at the center of all legal decisions. The case of a parent kidnapping their own child remains one of the most dramatic and heart-wrenching legal battles in modern family law. The courtroom drama revealed the emotional, legal, and psychological complexities of custody disputes, raising critical questions about parental rights, the impact of abduction on children, and how the law handles such sensitive matters. While the mother ultimately regained custody of her child, the scars from the experience ran deep. The father, despite his actions, was still given the opportunity to maintain a relationship with his child, but under very strict conditions. The emotional toll on both parents and the child cannot be understated, and it serves as a stark reminder of the consequences that arise when family conflicts spiral out of control. The case also had broader implications for family law. It highlighted the need for stronger safeguards to protect children from the emotional trauma caused by parental disputes. Experts argued that more resources should be allocated to family mediation and counseling to help parents navigate the complexities of custody arrangements without resorting to extreme measures. The ruling set a precedent for how similar cases might be handled in the future, with a focus on ensuring the well-being of the child while balancing the rights of both parents. As the public followed the case, it became clear that these types of situations affect more than just the immediate family. The emotional and psychological consequences ripple outward, affecting communities, friends, and even the legal system itself. It's a painful reminder of the importance of putting the best interests of the child above all else in custody disputes, and ensuring that the legal system can effectively address the complex dynamics at play. But the bigger question remains: how do we prevent such tragedies from happening in the first place? How can we create a legal framework that not only addresses parental rights, but also protects children from the emotional turmoil that often accompanies custody battles? Perhaps the most important takeaway from this case is the need for compassion, understanding, and a renewed focus on the well-being of children in family law proceedings. As we close the chapter on this case, we are left with the sobering realization that the journey for both parents and child is far from over. Healing will take time, and the legal system must continue to evolve in order to better address these complex family dynamics. For now, though, the legal battle is over, but the emotional journey is just beginning.